all you need is a butt nowadays to become famous. That's it. You know what I mean? But basically, yeah.
Well, see, you don't have that problem, Steven.
Nah. I mean, however, as being a straight male in an industry with mostly women, I have a few stories. I'm not gonna get into it, but
any PG-13 stories you could share with us?
13, a couple of makeout sessions in the back. That's PG-13. But aside from that, the reason I got into the hair industry was to be around women. I want to be around beautiful blondes all day, and and then my whole life was revolving around women. So it's a whole different thing. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Liquid Lunch Project. I am Matthew R. Meehan alongside my partner, the Professor Luigi Rosabianca. What's on tap today, Lou?
Matt, today we have a wonderful entrepreneurial tale from behind the salon chair to in front of the video camera. Today on the podcast, we have the salon guy, Steven Marinaro. Steven, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited, and thanks for pronouncing my first and last name properly.
No problem, Stefano.
So there you go.
So how did you transition from elite hairstylist and working in hair salons to becoming this marketing and digital media strategist behind the camera?
It's really interesting. And I rarely talk about this. Back in 1999, I created a website. It was one of the first websites on the internet to help people find hair salons, called salonsearch.com. 1999. And I used to go into hair salons saying, hey, I created a website, which was new even back then, and I want to put your salon on my website to help people find you. And they go, I'm not putting my information on the internet. I do newspaper stuff. People were afraid to put their information on the internet back then. So I always was kind of a techie. I always was kind of ahead of things, even though I was, young and dealing with the salon industry. And basically it transformed to where about 16 years ago, I started the Salon Guy, and it was based off of my knowledge, my love, my passion for the salon industry, for people, and reading a book, going through some things in life that kind of led me in a direction of saying, I want to do something for myself that no one else is going to do for me. And that's when I took the plunge to create a brand for myself.
Steve, I've got to ask you this question because I've always been curious on how the salon business works. You walk into a salon and you have all these chairs and you've got cosmetics and you've got, really fancy things for women like color and stuff. When someone is sitting at that chair, are they paying the stylist, colorer, or hair designer? Are they paying the brand and then they split the fee? How's the business of the salon work?
That's actually a great question.
As college students, and we didn't have any playbook at all. We had, no mentors, no help, even venture capital for, consumer wasn't a thing at that time, believe it or not, if you can believe that. So, 2001 opened the store, immediately.
Whatever the cut is, that owner's getting his or her cut, and that stylist is getting their percentage. That's how they're making money. And then sometimes the owner will add in a little fee to cover costs of product, maybe an extra $8 to cover the color. Some salons don't do that. A lot of stylists don't like that because they're like, well, that's eating into what I'm making. But traditionally, it's literally a straight up commission deal. The average is about 50%. So if I'm charging $100 for a haircut, my end is 50 plus the tip. But however, on that 50, I got to pay taxes because it's all reported. So the hair industry, I wouldn't say is the most lucrative. Unfortunately, I think the average salary of a hairstylist or barber is like 30-something thousand, if that. It's not the highest. However, there are people making big money if they do it properly. And that comes from charging high service fees. Like I retired from seeing clients about 2 years ago, and I was $150 a haircut. If I were to start doing hair again today and I'd have a line out the door, I would be $300 for a woman's haircut and $150 for men's haircut. I just had somebody offer me $450 to cut her hair, and she was going to fly to me, all because, and we'll talk about this, but all because of my content. But that's how the salon industry works. The salon owner, however, that 50%, they're not getting all that because they got rent, they have overhead, they have, the bills, insurance, cost of coloring, cost of products. The average salon owner, they're maybe making 5%, if that. That's kind of like, off of that 50%. So the stylist sometimes ends up making more money because they're getting a higher cut. It just depends how the salon's running their operation.
And I guess at some point you realize that a nice revenue stream would be the products themselves, right?
Yeah.
Sprays, colors. So you kind of got into the consumer end of that. Walk us through how that merchandising is working.
Right. So when I started the Salon Guy, it was all about putting out content. And it was so new. I don't even think Instagram didn't exist. TikTok didn't exist. Facebook was kind of new. YouTube.
Man, you're old.
I'm old school, man. I'm a relic, bro. I'm a relic, I'm an OG dinosaur, man. I started putting out videos based off of just how to do better customer service, how to find a salon to work in that doesn't suck. Like all these just business videos. And somebody said, do you cut hair? And I said, who wants to watch a bald guy cut hair on the internet? You know what I mean? So I started doing haircut videos, and I guess people were like, but I had a goal. This is something you guys are going to find interesting. Nobody has a goal of this. I had a goal of one person. I said, if I can inspire one person, I'm onto something. And that one person, Steven, your videos, oh my God, they're so inspiring. And oh my gosh, there's my one person. And then it grew. Back then, it was like 10 people was a big deal. 50 people. And I used to have friends watching my stuff going, Steven, you're up to like 50 likes on Facebook. I created a Facebook. I'm like, 50 people like me. I'm like, holy crap. So when I started continued posting my videos, at the time I was working for, I think it was Paul Mitchell. And I was always recommending other brands because I didn't have my own product line. I was like, oh, I use this. And it got to the point where I'm like, people care that much about what I have to say that they want to know what I'm using. That means they're going to purchase that product that I'm suggesting. I need my own stuff. If people trust me that much, I need my own product line. And then that is when I decided, and that's a whole other journey and a whole other, that's a real big thing is going into manufacturing. But I created my own, hair product line, and it started selling. And now my primary source of revenue and income is my hair product line. And then my YouTube channel brings in, some revenue as well. But it's basically my products that has really is the number one source of revenue. But that all ties in to my social media brand, being on YouTube, being out there, getting the exposure I've gotten, which all has come from hard work, hustle, passion, and dedication, which most people don't want to do.
Absolutely. What was the biggest difference that you've seen going from cutting hair and diving into manufacturing and more real? I hate to say real business, but deeper into it. Yeah,
that's an interesting question, Matthew. And the advantage I had was that since I worked for huge companies like L'Oreal and Paul Mitchell, I got to see some of that element of it, of product manufacturing, what goes into manufacturing. What was a challenge for me was the costs of everything. It's not super expensive. So you've got private labeling, which a lot of people do. And, on Amazon specifically, you've got a whole bunch of people selling products. It's the same product, just in a different bottle design, which is, to me, anyone can do that. And there's a lot of companies in the hair industry that do that for people where they don't care if you're a hairstylist. They're like, oh, I make the same product for the 19 same brands that, so there's private labeling, which initially I started doing that because the way the company made it look like was that they're exclusive to me. Yeah, they're exclusive to the Salon Guy, but they're not exclusive to like 19 other, they're making the same products for all these other salons. And I was like, wait a minute. And because I was so big and becoming so like viral, that a lot of these the consumers started noticing, they're like, wait, the ingredients are the same from this brand and this brand. They started calling me out.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're the same ingredients. Then I started learning that these manufacturers are making the same products for whoever they want, just a different label on the jar. And I'm like, wow. So then I started doing my own custom stuff, which finding the right manufacturer is very difficult. I know right now specifically, this is all like real world modern day stuff is like, everybody goes on Alibaba and they outsource it and this and that, and you can't beat the pricing in China. You can't, because they'll make a sea salt spray for 79 cents, whereas here it's like $3.99, $4.99 and up. So manufacturing gets really expensive. Finding the right partner and the right person to make your stuff is definitely important. Cutting hair and doing all that is an art form. It just requires you being really good at what you do. Have you ever gotten a bad haircut before? You're not going to that same guy again. So it's all about skill. When you start diving into like manufacturing, building products, it becomes more about how do I sell these? And actually, when I launched my line, I was selling them in the salons that I was working in. And funny thing is, my products are the ones being sold out all the time because I was the best sales guy for myself.
Yep.
The salon owner would yell at me, Steven, every week I'm placing an order with you. This is getting ridiculous. I go, what are you complaining about? They're selling. Like that. So, there's a lot about in the hair industry, like barbers and hairstylists, they're becoming a bit more and more savvy when it comes to that. But the majority of people don't want to go down that because it's really it's difficult. You're talking I've hit seven figures. And when you're starting to go into that realm of hitting seven figures, even $200,000 in sales could be a lot for someone who's got a small product line or boutique product line. It becomes, you got to start realizing how much does it cost to make the products? Do I have to spend ads? Amazon is all about spending a ton of money on ads. It gets very expensive. So,
gents, this is a question for the both of you. I don't know where the salon industry is at right now. So, the three of us have the whole East Coast covered. I'm in New York, Matt's in Florida, you're in Jersey. And I used to live in the city, and I noticed that there were a lot of larger brands consolidating these fractured industry players. But then I moved to the suburb and I go to an old school guy who still does the old fashioned shaves, right? Is the salon business going back to that boutique throwback? Or are we still in this hyperbolic scaling? Let's get everybody in the door and we're just mass producing haircuts.
That's a really great question. And it's kind of a mix of both. That old school element is still there, and it's well respected by people who want that experience. It really is about what the customer wants. Now, keep in mind, right now, the salon industry is shifting because a lot of salons have been closing down because stylists are walking out because they think they can have their own place and be better at business than the place they've been working at for 5 years. And then, one stylist takes 5 or 6 of them and they go up at their own place and they don't last for like 2 years. The new big trend is something called salon suites.
That's what I was going to say.
Yep. Salon.
So what is that? What is that?
Well, it's basically, there's a guy who owns a huge, imagine like apartment development. And he's got like a building. And in that building, he's got empty rooms that are a certain specific size. And they're called suites. And you can go in and rent from him and basically, or her, like, and you can pay just a weekly fee, whether it's $1,000, $500 a week, $400 a week, depending on the size you want. So let's just say it's $1,500 a month. You get your own dedicated one-man operation, little room. It's like a 10 by 10. It's tiny, but that's your space. And a lot of people are doing that now because they feel like they're more independent. They can control their own schedule. They get all the money. A lot of people are doing that. However, that creates kind of a weird thing because some people like being alone and some don't like being alone. Then you've got like a larger suite where you can fit 2-3 people in there. You're paying maybe like $2-3 grand, $4 grand a month for that, but you're under control of a landlord. He control, you got one bathroom, he controls the Wi-Fi, all that stuff. It's all kind of controlled. Like if you're living in an apartment development,
Yeah. It's we work for the salon industry essentially.
Matt,
Exactly.
what do you pay for a haircut, Matthew?
It's actually gotten expensive. I pay $50 now. 50 every time I go there. It's haircut with the shave is like $68.
See, because maybe I don't have a firm base in reality, because I think $50 is a lot of money.
I used to,
but Steven is charging up $300, if someone's going to book him. So where does the salon industry become a luxury? Is it the value added? Is it the massage? Is it the type of product? Or is it just the aesthetics of the place you go to?
It's interesting because I would have, trust me, I've had people come in, and I think one, it's about building a relationship with your customers and your clients, because as you guys know, so you've had the same guy for 5 years or 10 years, he's your guy or she's your girl, whatever. And you build a relationship with them. When you go, how's the family? You know so much about each other. So that's the one element, is the relationship you have with that person.
Sure.
The second thing is the work itself, right? Like if you're getting a good haircut and your person is making you feel like at the end of your appointment, you both talk about how good the haircut is. And man, you make me look great and this and that. You come back in and your hair still looks great. It grew out really, really well. There's the technical aspect of how your hair looks. And then it's the elements of the salon or the barbershop itself. Are you going into a place where it's super ghetto and you got like noise all over the place? Is it ratchet? Is there hair over the floor? Is it a mess? Is it, is the salon owner a whack job? You know what I mean? Like there's all of those elements. You see, women coming in it all depends on what you want. For me, I ended up creating I was seeing clients in my own studio here in another room that I made my own little private space. So they love that attention. They also love the fact that they knew that they were getting an incredible service, meaning the work itself. I've had people pay, men, like literally a hair shorter than yours, pay me, $100 for a haircut. And literally the haircut could take me 15 minutes to do. But it's the experience, the relationship. We talk about things and they know they're getting an incredible haircut. Lastly on that, when I retired from seeing clients and I had to tell them and they had to start finding someone new, I'm like, I honestly have no idea. I can try to suggest. I don't know people cut hair like I do. They would complain to me, dude, I went through 4 people. No one can cut hair like you. So it really comes down to skill. And Luigi, Matthew, you have a hat on, but your hair, I would easily see you as $100 guy, easily, because you have nice hair. And if your person does a great job for what it is, great, you're getting good value. But you would be kind of an ideal client of mine paying bigger money, because to me, you have that kind of look and appearance where it's worth it.
You're right. It is a very personal relationship, because the place I go to next door has the little cars and trucks where the kids sit in. So my guy takes the time to cut my son's hair, and he's only 2 years old. So it takes a great deal of patience and sensitivity to cut the 2-year-old's hair. So yes, there's definitely a relationship and a bond that's built there. Well, Stephen, are there franchises? Like, are there major hair cutting franchise out there?
Oh, big time. I mean,
there are
Supercuts, hair cuttery. I mean, they're all over the place. And Matthew wanted to say something too, but Matthew, real quick on those. See, I've talked to trainers at some of those places like Supercuts. I've literally talked to a corporate trainer, and she goes, "Our target cut time is 15 minutes. That's our target cut time is get someone in and out in 15 minutes, and they're charging $9.99 for a haircut. But do you realize how many botch jobs I've fixed up from those places?
Yeah, no, I believe it. So I won't go to any of those places. There's another one by me called Sports Clips that everybody brings their kids to, and I'm like, I just won't go there. But
it's all about price. They want to get in, they want to get out. They don't care about how their hair looks. If they, there are talented people working those places, not to take away from them, but it's not known for like Luigi Fakai, or a John Barrett, any of those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my relationship with the barber that I have now, there's two guys that I go to. There's one shop. I know the owner of the shop. It's always packed. But it's a barber shop. It's not a salon, right? So, but it's just when you get in there, everybody know everybody. It's a fun time. It's an environment. You're comfortable when you go in there. So the relationship, I think, is what matters most, because once you get a good haircut, you like the person, you're gonna keep going back. It's not one of those things you switch all the time. I actually hate having to go to somebody new.
Who's the Vidal Sassoon of 2025? Who's the big up and coming star of your business?
It's so interesting because I've detached myself from that so much. There's a couple of guys left that are okay. So I went to Vidal Sassoon in London, and guys like rest his soul, Vidal Sassoon himself, but there's guys who, most successful people like Nick Arrojo, you probably know of him. He's in the city. He's got a couple of places, I think one in Brooklyn, one in Manhattan. He's got a cosmetology school now. He's an ex-Sassoon guy. It seems like everybody who's good at haircutting trained under him, worked with him, went to their schools.
Really?
Yeah, it's the most precise. You think that and you're like, oh, that's like getting your MBA, or that's like going to Harvard, because you've learned like really what it's like to cut hair, And for me, I'm a hybrid. I'm not a barber. I'm a hairstylist, but I'm good at cutting men's hair, really good at cutting men's hair and women's hair. So there are a lot of the old school guys, Fakai, I've looked up to him for a while. He's a big name in the city. John Barrett, like there's a lot of names that are still kind of hanging on that are old school. The new ones, there's just so many that I don't even pay attention to anymore. Because
is there a line in the sand between men's hair and women's hair? Like if someone does a lady's hair and color, like, well, I won't do men's hair. It's beneath me.
Oh yeah. Well, not beneath, but a lot of women aren't huge fans of working with clippers. Now they're getting more into it because I'm seeing a lot more female barbers popping up on social media. I'm seeing also a trend with female barbers on social media. And if you're on Instagram and TikTok, you know exactly what I'm talking about, of why they're getting so big. They have a certain asset. I go, here comes another one. All right. You're and as a guy watching that, you're trying to focus on the haircut, but you really can't, because they put that in your face. And it's like, so I am seeing that. All you need is a butt nowadays to become famous. That's it. You know what I mean? But basically, yeah.
Well, see, you don't have that problem, Steven.
Nah. I mean, however, as being a straight male in an industry with mostly women, I have a few stories. I'm not going to get into it, but
any PG-13 stories you could share with us?
13, a couple of makeout sessions in the back. That's PG-13. But aside from that, the reason I got into the hair industry was to be around women. I want to be around beautiful blondes all day, and and then my whole life was revolving around women. So it's a whole different thing.
That's funny.
But I love to really get into the building a brand, growing the business, because nowadays there are more and more barbershops that are opening up Instagram accounts, and they're creating content, and they have video cameras, they have all these weird ring lights in the back, because it's all about like building a brand for themselves, and that's how they're getting.
So let's talk about that a little bit, right? Because if a tree falls in the forest but no one sees it fall, it never fell, right? So Vidal Sassoon makes it big in the 80s. Now maybe he was at the right place at the right time, but here I am in 2025, and I still remember Vidal Sassoon commercials. So I don't know if he's an amazing stylist. I don't know if he has a certain technique, but some way, somehow, I heard of him, and I associated that name with quality hair cutting and styling. Okay. So
yep.
I'm 22 years old. I just came out of the beauty school. How do I start building that brand?
That's really interesting. It's all about having a clear vision of how far you want to take it. It's like, I want to become a heavyweight champion. I want to become a gold medalist. You have to be so committed and so dedicated that that's a rarity, I would say, because there's only one of them, or maybe two of them, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, all these people. One person gets to that level. You can have so many other really, really good levels and accomplishments. But I think nowadays people should just focus on being as good as they possibly can. And there's so many opportunities to build a brand for yourself now that it's going to take you where it takes you. I started the Salon Guy based off of like, I didn't even know what a brand was back then. It was so new to me that I'm like, I'm just putting out stuff. I call myself the Salon Guy. I'm going to events and filming and interviewing people and becoming a media personality. But one thing that's important, though, for growing, and this is the one thing that most people won't do, is they don't know what it takes to go to that next level. Most people hit a brick wall and they don't go through that because they give up, and they don't know what it takes to get to that next threshold, or they don't think of themselves as an actual business, how to make money. That's what the biggest thing is. How do you make money doing what you're doing? Most people don't understand that. They just want to see a lot of views and stuff like that. I always say that once you understand how you can monetize what it is you're doing, how you can do what you have to do to kind of grow your brand in an authentic way, show your skill sets, produce good quality videos, put yourself out there, be authentic, be you, don't be a scammer. Like all of these things now, there's scammers left and right, selling courses, selling you this, selling you that. It's all about selling, selling, selling. And even I'm getting tired of seeing the same people doing the same things that are big name people one of them was very shocking to me that, I mean, I don't know if I want to even name names, but like he's a big name. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to buy one of his, events. And it was an online event. And I started watching it and I go, the amount of funnel emails that I started getting within like minutes for weeks and weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, all these guys are the same. It's just one big scam funnel after the next for you to purchase this, purchase that. And I'm just like, wow. So building up that stuff, it's all about you just having something that you can offer, but making money on it comes down to what service can you provide? What product can you sell? What can you do that's going to attach directly to you to make money on? So, and then everything else will follow. If people like you, they're going to follow you. They want to watch you. They want to buy from you. It's all about brand authenticity and likability.
I can make the argument that every barber, every hairstylist should be on social media and be doing it 24/7, right? Because of course you're going to build your personal brand. You can eventually run and do products like you, but it's just going to make you in more demand, right? And the more bookings you have, the more you can raise your prices. The more you can raise your prices, the more money you're going to make, right?
Yep. Matt's absolutely right. I mean, you're in an industry that has a natural aesthetic, right? So what photographs well better than beauty? And yeah, I think it's the natural growth, path.
Yeah. And what I tell a lot of people, what I'm doing now, which is really interesting, and this is starting to morph into something where I think I may be onto something that no one's ever done before, but I offer virtual hair consultations. I charge $100 for a half an hour, video call where I consult with people. I give them a good breakdown. I actually create AI images based off of their images with different hairstyles. I give them so much information in a half-hour time frame that people are like blown away, and they're paying $100 for that. And I barely promote it. And I'm getting like at least 2 or 3 a week that want to do these consultations with me, and they're just people from.
All right, let's do 30 seconds worth. I can't afford to spend $100. Matthew, take off your hat. Let's do a 30-second consultation. Okay, what are we doing here?
One, he's got hat head. All right. So, however, there we go. So for you, I think having that length is good for you. You can probably actually get away with having your hair a bit longer on the sides, but like a texture powder for something like you, a matte paste, something to where you can actually mess your hair up and make it look more disheveled could be kind of like a Brad Pitt Fight Club type of look, So that's something to where your hair looks good while you're trying to mess it up. And that's a key thing of the haircut itself. If sometimes people's hair is too perfect, you don't have that much flexibility. So you took your hat off, you messed it up, that's a look in itself. So I would say you're actually in pretty good shape,
Thanks. I'm losing my hair though. Yeah. What can I do about that?
It all depends.
You might not be the right person to ask about that.
Yeah, well, how Justin Timberlake is bringing sexy back. I'm bringing hairy back. You got to see my back, how hairy it is. My nickname is Chewbacca.
No, but I mean,
I've got some competition for dad jokes.
The virtual sessions, I think, I would do that because sometimes I want a different haircut. I just don't know what to do. But the problem is when I go to my barber, he doesn't speak English. So
oh boy. Okay,
I have to have somebody else translate it to him. So I'll just get the same thing every single time. He goes, "Same papi." Yes, sir.
Oh, Steve Poppy. You're going, boy, it sounds like some of my ex-girlfriends. Anyway.
Matthew's in Orlando, so speaking English is the minority.
I know. I heard Miami's even worse.
Yeah, Miami. But nobody speaks English in Miami.
I know, which is funny. But kind of so piggybacking off of what you're saying of every, right now there's a point where even you guys, what people are doing with podcasts, I was very not anti-podcast, but years and years and years ago, we're talking maybe, I don't even know, 12, 13 years ago, when I was doing a lot of Fashion Week stuff. I'd go to Fashion Week. I would film at Fashion Week in New York at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week proper, but and I would get a lot of people wanting me to film with them. And so there was a podcast that was all about fashion and stuff like that back then. And they said, we want to have you on as a guest. We're a big fashion podcast. I'm like, look, so they brought me in and I sat down with the owner of the whole thing. And I said, look, man, I'm a video guy, man. I'm not really an audio guy. I'm a video guy. Like, what's with this whole podcast thing? Like, who listens to this stuff? He goes, this blew my mind. He goes, let me ask you a question. What's your average length video? I'm like, I don't know, like 12 minutes, 13 minutes. He goes, what's your average watch time on those videos? I said, maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. He goes, I have an hour-long podcast. He goes, you know what my retention rate is? Like 95%. I go, well, what are you talking about? He goes, out of an hour-long podcast, that means people are listening to about 50, 55 minutes of my show. Meanwhile, people are watching only 3 minutes of your video. I said, but what does that even mean? And then he started to break down what a loyal audience is in this spectrum of getting sponsors and analytics and saying, I have this many people who are glued into my show. And that's when I started realizing, wow, this was, again, a long time ago. Now everybody and their cat has a podcast, which is great. But podcasting is something that's so new and unique that I think it's a great way for, to brand yourselves. There's so many of them nowadays that it's crazy. There's some good ones. There's a lot of duds, but
it's evolving. Everything's going to keep evolving, right? When we first came out, it was literally nobody was doing video on podcasts. Now you're doing video with podcasts, right? Now we know clips from this. We'll make good clips to put into shorts. So I think you're marrying the podcasting and the video game. But I mean, you were one of the first people on YouTube, right? Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. In the hair industry, I was one of. Yeah. There weren't a lot, and YouTube. A lot of times it's vanity metrics. Yeah, I've got 1.1 million subscribers, over 240 million views, and 3,300 videos on my YouTube channel. I mean, this is grinding and grinding. But YouTube for me has been the number one source of my publicity, of driving sales, of me putting myself out there. Everything goes back to the YouTube channel because that's where it all started for me. YouTube is probably one of the hardest things to build right now because, I mean, even me, my views, to this day, I'm actually shifting my whole content. What I've been doing is it's been hurting me. It's been hurting my growth. And
you got to be deep in the woods because, I mean, you have over 1 million subscribers, 1.1, 1.2 million, right? So these algorithm changes really affect what happens to you, not just being paid out by them, but the views to be able to, for lack of a better word, push your products out there, right? So how do you figure out the algorithm after the changes?
Yeah. Well, one, you're going to hear directly from YouTube, right? So I've been working with people from YouTube for years and years and years, meetings, YouTube managers, channel managers, and they all are just so cookie cutter robotic that they all sound the exact same. They all memorize these manuals. They all follow best practices. It's all good stuff, and it all sounds great, and they really sound amazing while they're telling you what to do, and they're all friendly and loving and all that. But what's happening is no one's ever telling you how to really get more views. Do this to get your views up. Change this to get more views. They don't, because it's always changing. So what I'm doing present day, like this morning at like 6 a.m., out of frustration, this is a little trade secret that a lot of people may or may not know, but there's something called Chat GPT. Okay, everybody knows it now. Little trade secret. Chat GPT has become literally the equivalent of 19 guys working for you, whether a marketing person, of this, of that. I go on it, and Google has Gemini as well, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. But like, I will go in and have literal conversations with Chat GPT because it's a learning tool. It learns what you're inputting and it starts to learn about your brand. So I literally went in this morning and said, I'm very frustrated with my YouTube channel. My views are not what they used to. I can't stand some of my audience. Like I'm getting so many foreigners from, other countries that are watching my content. They're not buying my products. What's going on? And I took a bunch of screenshots of my analytics and uploaded it to ChatGPT. And it basically tore me a new one where it said, this is exactly what's crippling your channel. And on YouTube, you've got like searchable content, you've got suggested content, and basically YouTube is a search engine. So most of my stuff comes from people searching. However, YouTube basically stopped suggesting me because of the content that I've been putting out where I've been cannibalizing myself, posting 5 times a week. And YouTube's like, yeah, dude, like you're getting 1 or 2 big hits a month on like 2 big videos, but the rest you're just trying to crank out stuff that's like, you're not what you used to be, so we're not going to suggest you to viewers anymore. That's why my views have plummeted. What it told me to do was like go back to some of your old school stuff, post less, and start retargeting who you're marketing to and your video content. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought using this strategy was actually going to help me. But so when it comes to branding, social media, algorithms, they're always kind of changing. But I think what like for TikTok and every platform, you have to find what really works and what works well. For me, TikTok, 7-second hair tutorials work. I have a video that's at 49 million views on TikTok, and many in the 20 million, 26 million, 20 million.
I have a question on that. You know, how many mannequins have you traumatized?
I got a bunch laying around. They're all over the place, man. I don't traumatize them. I do good work, Matthew. I do good work, you know? They keep asking me, they keep coming back for more haircuts, you know? But yeah, I have, you know, dozens upon dozens upon dozens. And that's the thing. Even now I use mannequin heads. People are like, why don't you use models and clients? I'm like, I used to do all that, but I can do it on my own time. It's all human hair. The mannequin doesn't yell back at me, you know? So, you know.
Stephen, before we let you go, I have to confess, clients and our audience always tell me, I love starting my Wednesday. I'm shaving. I'm coming out of the shower. I'll listen to the podcast to get my day started. So if someone's listening right now and they just came out of the shower, give us a couple of tips on what they can do to create healthy, full head of locks.
Well, I'm the perfect guy to talk to you about that. Look at my hair. But no, really what it comes down to, it's a whole process starting with the shampoo and conditioner. I was just with a meeting with a guy who's like, oh, I use this brand. I just buy it because it's cheap. It's what I've been using for a long time. I'm like, dude, that's literally drying and destroying your hair. So it comes from the proper shampoo and conditioner you're using. If you notice those things, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, you don't care about what your hair feels like, you like the smell, it's $6 at the local pharmacy, fine, keep buying that. But if you start to notice that your hair is feeling dry, it's not healthy, you need to change the shampoo and conditioner. Like my stuff, I have stuff that's, you know, $32 for a shampoo and $32 for a conditioner because it's so high quality, it makes your hair feel like silk. So you have to start with what you're using. Then the next thing is, what are you going to use to prepare your hair for the style? That's where something like my sea salt spray comes in, or my 25 spray, which is a 25 benefit leave-in spray. Is how are you prepping your hair? Do you need a smoothing serum? Do you need a hair cream? Do you need a sea salt spray? And then it's, how are you going to style your hair? Are you going to blow dry it? Are you going to air dry it? How are you going to blow dry it? With a brush, with your hands? What look are you trying to get? And then how are you going to finish it? Meaning your hair's all dry, right? You're going, okay, now I got to finish it. I got to put my product in. I got to put my gel, my cream, my paste. Then it's the finishing aspect of it. So all of that is a whole routine that you need to do, and utilizing the right products is what's going to keep your hair healthy, and utilizing the right hair tools and utilizing them properly. So it's not as difficult as you think, but it does start from the shampoo and it ends with what you're using as the finished product.
Any truth to using mayonnaise works?
I'm sorry, what was that, Matthew?
Any truth to putting mayo in your hair? Does it work?
I've never done that. There are a lot
You've
of,
heard it though, right?
Beer,
You've heard that before.
Use beer on your yeah, of course. Use beer on your hair. Use olive, all sorts of stuff. Egg whites, all that stuff. Yeah. So I've never done it. I think it does work in some areas, but if you want to put egg whites on your hair, then egg yolks, go ahead. If you want to put beer on your hair,
no, that's an Italian grandmother thing, guys. Come on, the olive oil on the hair to have thick hair.
Yeah. Mayo, if you want to do that and deal with that, try it.
Yeah.
Be my guest, but I'd rather put specific ingredients in my products that I know are going to make the hair feel good.
Oh no, I believe you. I just want to know if there's any truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't, dude. It's been so long since I've even thought about that stuff. But there's some truth to some of those homemade concoctions. Definitely coconut oil, all that kind of stuff.
Stephen, when you come back on the next recording for our podcast, we'll do it live so we can test out Matthew's theory in person.
Okay, sounds good. You know, one thing is I do put mayo on the chest hair. Look at this part right. I wanted to wait to the end until I brought that up, but yeah, no.
Steven, thank you so much for being here, man. We want to be respectful of your time. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can reach you, give them the YouTube channel, and more importantly, how they can get some of this wonderful product that you have.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Well, everything across all social media platforms is at The Salon Guy. My YouTube channel is The Salon Guy, TikTok, Instagram, The Salon Guy, and then shop.thesalonguy.com. There it is right there. That's my hair product website. I have a full range of products for men and women. They're unisex, all high quality stuff. Every one of those products, I've tested. It's all under my direction, and it's a really, really great lineup of hair tools. Anything you need is there. I have, virtual hair consultations. I offer like even downloadable ebooks that people can purchase to learn more about how to get good haircuts. I have the full spectrum, but just search The Salon Guy and you'll find all sorts of stuff on me,
Steven, thank you so much. One last question before I let you run. Yep. What's the most ridiculous haircut somebody's ever asked you for?
Oh man, that's interesting. I'm trying to think of the craziest one I've done it's been a long time. Most people, if they want something really extreme, really crazy, it's usually like, oh, I want this design of like a sports team on the back of my head, or like a logo or something, or I want like a number in the back of my head. That's like kind of traditional, but that's as far as like some people will go. Maybe with coloring, some people want. The thing about me is, I know a guy who does insane, crazy designs. Like he'll carve like, a character on your head and make it look like it's on your head. Wow. I've never done stuff like that, but I have done extremes where we're like, oh, I want, the bottom half blonde, the top half black, this part red, this part blue. Like a lot of it's coloring. So,
Awesome. Steven,
yeah, man.
Thank you. Everybody else, that's a wrap of the Liquid Lunch Project. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Let's go!